Welcome to Real with me, Zara King. I have been in business and personal development for years alongside raising my family. I started in the beauty industry in 2011, moved into network marketing and then coaching and NLP. This podcast originally began helping beauty professionals, and now I support ambitious women in a wider arena of service-based businesses. It is all about real, uncensored conversations on coming home to you and your alignment. You are done playing at a level that you know you've outgrown, and you're ready to go all in on creating more income, more freedom, mental clarity, and a business that actually works for your life. Inside this podcast, we talk real business, real life, and the hard parts most people avoid, from identity to strategy and what it actually takes to grow as women and mothers who want it all. So if you're ready to trust yourself fully and step into your next level, you're in the right place. Hello, my beauties. I hope you're all good. I really want to have this conversation with you. I just want to be completely open, real, raw, honest. I have just had one of the just the most powerful conversations that you could ever have with your mentor. Like, me and my coach just had the best conversation ever. And this is coming to you just super fresh from that, because I feel like it's the best way to have this conversation is to have it straight away. We were talking about where I'm at the moment. We're talking about business, we're talking about life, we're talking about everything. There's a lot going on, and human design came up and gene keys came up. Anyway, this is not about that, but it's about something that I've learned about myself, that I think can help you guys as well. There must be so many of us that do this. And what came up really strongly for me is transparency is such a big deal. It's part of my life's work is having that transparency. So it's absolutely key for me. If I'm transparent, if I'm being real, if I'm being honest, I feel so good. I feel in flow. I feel energetic. If I'm with my clients and I'm just being completely open and honest with them. If you're in my world, by the way, you know this, because I'll always say to you, I'm going to be completely open and honest with you here, or I'm going to be so transparent about me, my life, my business, or what's going on and stuff. But sometimes things do feel off when you're not in alignment with what matters to you. So sometimes if I have to keep something in, things feel off, even if you can't tell that I'm keeping something in, or that I'm not being 100% transparent. Obviously no one's going to know, but I can feel it, and I dim myself, and I feel disconnected from doing things or putting myself out there. And I think that type of thing can affect a lot of us when we're not in alignment. Alignment with what matters to us is absolutely everything. It doesn't have to be transparency that matters to you, but I'm going to talk about that because that's what came up for me. But alignment and being in alignment with what you believe in and what you value and what you are here to actually do in this world is just everything, And I think online these days, we were talking about, I took a stint. In fact, I'm still in the stint as I record this, taking time away from social media and stuff, not showing up as fully as I would normally. And that's okay, by the way. But we're told to be authentic, be ourselves, be really authentic, create true connection. And it's so important to some of my clients as well. If you listen to this, you know who you are. Being authentic is so important to you. So this is really relevant. And obviously we don't want to share everything with the world, right? There are things that you're just not going to want to share. And I think it's really important when you're even building a business, building a personal brand, building anything in life, to be really crystal clear on that, and what is in alignment to share, what is not in alignment to share, what don't you want to share. And actually the key thing here is making it okay, because what I noticed today was that there are things that I have made mean that it's not okay, and it holds me back. It will hold me back. It might hold you back if it's something else for you, because being completely blunt with you, there are so many parts of my life that I will not share online. I just will not do it, absolutely not. So where it kind of goes wrong, especially for me, for example, in this instance, is because there's something attached to that, and I've made it mean something. I've made it mean there's some shame around it, or there's some guilt around it. It becomes this internal thing, and that's when it starts affecting your true essence, vibe, energy, the way you really show up with clients. And obviously, as we know, and as I talk about all the time, if you are changing, if you're letting things change your energy, you're not going to attract the energy that you want to attract. If you're letting, if you're in a negative kind of energy, then you're going to attract like a negative energy back. So that's where it becomes like a thing. And it's like a thing that we need to fix, because if we don't fix it, then it can spiral into feeling shitty in other areas and stuff like that. And just, that's where it goes wrong. So what I wanted to do is like be really completely open with this about a time, like without like divulging everything about what actually was going on, like a time in my life that was so dark and just felt so long. And, it's a time in my life that I don't talk about publicly, like nobody knows about it. It was no fun. It was a long time. It was, good few years of my life. It definitely doesn't align to who I am now. But there was this time that was just unhelpful, really fucking unhelpful. I don't, I have like a shame around it. And this is the point, right? I've made it mean something. And it's only recently that I realise that I can really work through it, because I can notice like the reasons that it holds me back in certain areas. So I can pinpoint, I can look at it, and I can decide how to move through it and work through it and sit with it. And I can tell you now, like the lessons and stuff that you learn when you're doing things like that. And if, like, we may as well just get into some of the things that I have uncovered, if you like, because if you're doing this, if you are in the same boat as me, if there are things that hold you back or stop you from feeling like you're in alignment with like everything, and trust me, when like these weights are lifted and you do sit in alignment with your purpose, like with your values and what really matters to you, because if one of those things is off, you're going to create anxiety in your brain, you're going to create fear, you're going to decide that you want to sit back and not do a lot. So this is the type of thing that I can pull from it and tell you that, and like you can do this too. So for me, like I can now look at that time in my life that, again, I don't share online, which is fine, but now I can try not to make it mean anything, because I can look at it now and decide like, okay, why it was unhelpful. Well, the reason that it was unhelpful was because it took a fucking hell of a lot from me that time in my life. I can look back now, hindsight is a wonderful thing, and I can be like, right, it took so much from me. It took my relationships, number one. It made it very difficult for me to feel like I could create new friendships where, that worthwhile friendships and things. It took away connection between me and my partner. It took away connection between me and my children. It took all of my energy. It took all of my thoughts. It created a hell of a lot of loneliness in my life, in my brain, in my being. And it took a lot of my self-worth. Like I can look back now and say, it took a hell of a lot of my self-worth. It was giving me really shitty thoughts and anxiety and stuff like that. And it lasted like a matter of years. But also now, having gone through like that difficult stuff of, okay, cool, I have a bit of a shame around this thing that happened, I can also now like shift this perspective and be like, okay, but it was obviously serving something. It was obviously fulfilling a need or a purpose or whatever at that time, because I can be of the view that everything happens for a reason. Life happens for us, not to us. I can shift my perspective into, well, what was it that I was getting from that time of my life, and what was going on there. So, for example, it was giving me, and it might be this, it could be anything, right? But it was giving me escape. It was giving me like that little bit of control over things. It was giving me satisfaction. It was, all of these things. But obviously, the point I'm trying to make is that when we label this stuff as bad, and I'm not saying it's great, it's not helpful, but what we're doing is we're labeling it as bad and connecting some sort of shame and guilt to these things that we might have had happen in our lives in the past. Maybe it happened to you, or it felt like it's happening really to you. Maybe it's something you went through. Maybe it's something you kind of indulged in. Whatever it is, we label it as bad, and then it's meaning something. But really and truly, if you can shift the perspective to, well, that still meets a need. Yes, it's unhelpful, Yes, it has taken so much from us. Yes, it's a hard time in life. Yes, it was dark. Yes, it was whatever it was. But you or I have to take back our power and be more neutral about it. And now I can believe, or like start to believe, that it's actually okay. It's okay to be neutral about certain things, rather than labeling them as bad. Like, rather than saying, no, absolutely not, this is really, really bad. Like, we have to move past things that hold us back. We have to be able to do that. And if transparency is a big deal to you and authenticity, but you are stopping in your tracks because something doesn't feel authentic, you have to dig into this. Like, you have to. Like, this is just an example that I wanted to share to be really raw and open and real with you, because it's like a deep, dark time of my life that no one knows about, and I think it's good to be vulnerable. But there could be absolutely anything that you don't want to be sharing online, and I want you to know it's okay not to share, but you also might need to move through it if you're holding any kind of unhelpful beliefs and thought patterns around it. I'm hoping this is making sense. Because when you do that, when you work through those things, like, okay, what was it taking from me? What was it giving me? Shifting the perspective, like, what purpose did it serve at the time? How did it, or even sometimes like limiting beliefs and stuff can make us feel safe to a certain degree. And that is what I was doing by, I suppose some of it was like, trying to keep myself in a certain place or whatever. But what you can do once you've worked through things is now I can look back and go, well, the lessons I've learned, I've learned that I can, number one, foremost, like, have some privacy without having to explain myself. Of course, you can have some privacy without any guilt attached to that, without any shame attached to that. We don't have to be completely open and transparent with all of our lives online. Like, you just don't have to do that. You can also be transparent without having to overshare certain things. There's no shame attached, no guilt attached. And genuinely, like, I can look back now and say the biggest lessons I've learned are things that, everything we go through serves a purpose. As hard as that pill is to swallow at times, everything we go through serves a purpose. And it shows you what you don't want. I feel like when I went through this dark spiral, it showed me that, it shows me now when I look back, like, what I don't want. I definitely don't align to that now. My standards have completely changed as a person. But the awareness is the first thing. So being able to look back, how would we know what we want if we never experienced what we don't want? You know what I mean? So it's like actually going through it properly. And, it's not just one day. It's not like one call is going to help with your coach or whatever. It's not just one thing. You don't just wake up all peaceful one day and be like, I'm completely at peace with this thing that I hold back with or whatever. I've had to go through journaling, right? That's one of the biggest tools that I use to move through anything. I journal, I sit down, pen and paper, and I'm like, what happened? What was in my control? How would I prefer to feel? And actually get into the nitty gritty of like how I can move through that. Journaling without moving through it, by the way, is just a waste of time. You have to like move through and transition through from one feeling or one state to the next. But that type of thing really helps with feeling anything that's holding you back, that's negative, like any shame, any guilt, anything. It could be anything. But journaling is one of those tools. Sitting with your thoughts, again, another one of those tools that it's like, okay, acknowledge the thought. Thank the thought. Maybe it's trying to keep you safe. Maybe it's telling you can't show up somewhere because X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah. But it's actually acknowledging that, sitting with the thought, asking yourself, what would be more helpful? Is this thought even true? What would be more helpful? What am I making it mean? Because a lot of the time, the assumptions and what we make things mean are the reason that we hold back. Like, there's not actually a truth in the thing that we're telling ourselves. We're not about to be eaten by a lion either, by the way. Like, the nervous system goes into overdrive, but actually we're going to be okay. Got through the worst days up until now. You're probably going to do just fine. So it's like really working through these things and asking yourself, what could be more helpful? What can I start to believe about this so that I can actually understand it more, understand myself more, put it to bed kind of thing, and look at it more neutrally and like it is just that thing. It is just what it is. It doesn't mean anything about us, I've completely removed myself from that identity. Like, that isn't who I am now. So that's cool. I can move with it, but it's still a massive learning curve. Yeah, and it was really holding me back. And I really uncovered that today with my coach. And I was like, do you know what? There are certain things that do just really hold us back. And it's like trying to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. So if transparency, like it is for me, if transparency is super important to you, this is the time. Have a little check-in with yourself. Like, is there anything that you feel you are holding any kind of like guilt or shame around, first and foremost? Because those are the biggest things. They can stop us in our tracks from being in alignment to who we are and what we want to be doing in the world. Because truly, like, you're not going to feel in the best energy until you truly are yourself, until you truly are in alignment with your values and what you believe in and what you want to put out to the world and how you want to show up and how you are showing up. You know, things will land so much better. The outcomes of your efforts everywhere in life and in business are going to be far better if you are feeling good while you're doing it, if you're in full alignment with what you're doing. And that doesn't mean to say that you look back at a time in your life or everything that you've ever done and you think it's fucking brilliant. It just is, it means working through and being neutral with things and not carrying any internal stuff around certain things. Like, don't make it this big internal thing. Easier said than done. Been there, done that, hence why I'm sharing this with you. But like I say, if the transparency and the authenticity is super important to you, like I know it is with many of my clients, have a check-in, see if you've got any of that, and also just see where it makes you hold back. Like, does it make you hold back in certain relationships? Does it make you hold back in your work? Does it make you hold back on social media? Where are you holding back because of it, and how would you prefer to be showing up? How would you prefer to actually feel as well? Because the feelings that you create and operate from are the most important things. I feel so much better just talking to my mic about this right now. I feel so much better just having the conversations that I had today with my coach about uncovering all these things that, like, I have to be honest with myself about, so that I can be in full alignment and be in full transparency with the world, so that I can show up in good energy. And just ask yourself, like, can I find more alignment? You know, does not mean, by the way, that you need to share and overshare the things that you don't want people to know about in your life, in your world, in your business, whatever. But it just means, like, checking in with yourself to find more alignment. Okay? I love you so much. I hope you have the best day, and I'll see you on the next one.